Hey guys, it's Bearded Dragon Care. So just before I start, I wanted to say that I do have a cold. I'm not feeling very well, so I apologise if my voice sounds weird or anything. But this week's video is requested and they wanted to know how I prepare my food and how I got used to feeding live food, etc. So I've already explained in my other video what I feed Humphrey. So I explain like when I feed it to her, how much I give and what I give her, so things like that. So I won't be going into detail in this video about that. So if you want to see that sort of thing, I'll leave the link in the description. I just thought I'd tell you how I prepare it and any advice whatever I have. So as you can see in this video, you want to always cut the food into smaller bits, especially for baby bearded dragons. It needs to be cut up really small or else they can't eat it or digest it, etc. So even while Humphrey's an adult, I still cut it up for her. So you want to aim for it to be smaller than the space between their eyes. The rocket and leafy vegetables I feed, I don't cut up. I used to when she was a baby, but she can just bite the leaves, so it isn't like solid food. So I always cut it up into squares or rectangles, as you can see here, sort of with a ridged edge sort of thing. So if I want to try and feed her it, I can put it against her mouth and then that'll be easier to feed her. So some foods do need to be peeled, like apples, before you feed. I actually didn't know this until about a year ago, but I wasn't feeding her much anyway. So you need to take the skin off before feeding it. Some foods you have to take the seeds out and things because it's not safe for them, or it's just all different reasons really. Usually tomatoes, I cut them in half, then half again, and in like triangle shapes, because that can be easier for them to eat. And I usually just give a variety, as I said in my other videos, so rocket, kale, watercress, apples, bell peppers, cucumber, things like that. And you just need to search up how to prepare it. Like I do have a sheet, like it can just be found online really, and it tells you what fruits and vegetables are safe, how often you can feed them, and whether they need to be cooked or peeled. Some foods aren't meant to be fed raw, you're meant to like cook them. So then moving on to live food. So when I first got Humphrey, I never liked holding the insects because obviously I wasn't used to it. So when I got the crickets and everything, I was quite creeped out, and I had to use my feeding tongs, which I have got in another video of my 11 products I couldn't live without. So I used the feeding tongs to catch the crickets basically, and that is very hard to do because they are very fast and they jump. So I did that when I had them in my cricket keeper, but if I just had them in the box, I sometimes just let them hop out and run around in her vivarium depending on how hungry I knew she was. Oh, to get the crickets, I just sort of grabbed their backs because that's the biggest surface area. And even now, I still can't hold crickets. I just find them really creepy and I just don't like the feel of them or anything. But locusts, when I started feeding her them, I started off feeding the tongs, so I just grabbed their bodies. But that was when I first got her, and I usually just let them hop out and run in her vivarium. But now what I do is I usually just get them with my hands because I'm used to touching them now, and I just usually hand feed or sometimes let her run after them. But as she's bigger now, it's less likely for her to run after them really. So then for worms, I do the same. When I first got them, I use the tongs. So I usually just use my hand and be careful not to get bitten because they do bite. It's just like a little pinch. And so that's what I do for Morio worms, and wax worms I just get with my hands too because they don't really do anything. So that's how I feed my live food. So it's actually hard for me to explain how I got used to feeding the live food because it basically just took time. I didn't really do much to get used to it. Like I was fine with just feeding with the tongs. The worms I've always really been fine with touching. I don't really mind them too much. So yeah, just to get used to the locust, I sort of just got my dad to hold it and then I touched them, and that's how I got used to it really. So there isn't really much on that question. So it was basically just time. So that's it for this video, guys. I will also be making videos on good foods to feed your bearded dragon, bad foods to feed your bearded dragon, how to feed a baby bearded dragon, and things like that. So this is just a video on how I prepare her food and how I got used to feeding the food, basically. So I hope I've got everything, and I'll do my follow of the week next. So this week's follower of the week is _MollyMay_05. She was the one who requested this video, so I thought I'd give her the follower of the week too. So she has liked several photos. She also has a bearded dragon that looks a bit like Humphrey. She's also a really nice person and friendly, and we've spoken quite a lot. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I do know that I didn't do a follower of the week in my last two videos, but I wasn't going to because they weren't bearded dragon related, so I am this week. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.